President Biden and President Trump have agreed to 2 debates this summer. Biden posted a video challenging Trump to the debate, saying, "Make my day, pal." To which Trump responded, "Let's get ready to rumble." 2 phrases that are guaranteed to lock up the youth vote.
One of them almost guaranteed to get you sued by the person that trademarked it, but that's another discussion for another day. So much to talk about today. Iran, Joe Biden. Who's the bigger racist? That I want to know. Hey, we've got so much going on today. Just hold your horses. Why would you hold your horses? I don't have any horses. Big news out of Iran. You know, if you consider the president of Iran being killed in a helicopter crash, that's pretty big news, and lots of moving parts going on there, no doubt about it. Wild and crazy world we're living in. We had a prime minister shot last week, and a president killed in an apparent helicopter crash. They had originally called it a hard landing. It was quite a hard landing. The landing was so hard that everybody's dead. And the helicopter, she's all smashed up. And you see the news reporters were like right in there among the wreckage. They might have been leafing through the pages and the stuff found in the luggage because, you know, there's often a lot of good stuff in luggages after a crash. Just ask the children of Lockerbie. I kid. Now, the Iran thing, big deal. The foreign minister killed, the president, Ibrahim Raisi, killed. And he's a bad guy. You know, he's a bad guy. He was elected, I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, after being selected by the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. I like to say, Achim, like I've got something stuck in my throat. Maybe on my uvula has something on it, and you gotta cough that stuff off the uvula when you say names like that. But Ibrahim, not Abraham, but Ibrahim, it's close, but no cigar, and Raisi, and he's dead. Now, he's the guy, he was fake elected in 2021, and in 2022, there was a little bit of an uprising by women. Am I right? A little bit of an uprising by women in Iran, and he was having none of that. Got to tell you, he killed about 500 of them, you know, women, and then jailed about 22,000 of them. Threw about 22,000 in prison because they didn't know their place. You know, they're almost as bad as Joe Biden. Speaking of Joe Biden gave speeches over the weekend, and he is really desperately trying to suck in the black vote by suckering black voters. And he gave a commencement speech that will go down in the annals. I don't like to use the word annals on the radio, but in this case, I think that it's appropriate, because this speech at Morehouse College will go down in the annals of the worst commencement addresses ever. It was the most negative, racist, racially polarizing. You know, keep in mind, Joe Biden was the guy who didn't want his kids going to school in a racial jungle. He's the guy that presided over the high-tech lynching of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. His old pal, Robert Sheets Byrd, you know, the exalted cyclops of the Democrat Party, and Democrat senator from West Virginia. Joe Biden has a long history of terrible racist stains. He is kind of a racist stain on our nation. And the things that he said over the weekend, then he delivered a speech to after Morehouse College, an HBCU, as we like to call it, because everything must be abbreviated. That's a historically black college and or university. And he delivered the commencement there, and he told them they have no hope. They should probably just seek a life of crime because America has no opportunities for them because of their race. And see, Joe Biden still lives in his early childhood in the 1840s, even before the Civil War. A very sad life story. Amazing stuff. So Joe Biden, he also gave a speech to the NAACP. It's another abbreviation. That's the National Association of Colored People. National Association. It's honestly, and that's, you just don't say colored people unless you're talking about the NAACP, because that would be racist. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and it's the only place that black people can be called colored people without the messenger being called a racist. So we've got that going on. Also, the fake, fraud, corrupt lefties in Europe at the International Criminal Court. We call it the ICC because we have to abbreviate everything. And they have announced that they're going to try to get an indictment. They're going to take it to the judges and panel and try to indict Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes. War crimes for Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh, yeah, and maybe a Hamas guy or two also. And it's not just Netanyahu, more than Netanyahu in the Israeli government. And the ICC, which is a tragic, corrupt, filthy European joke, and we spit on it. Pui. I spit on the ICC. They're like the United Nations. They're not united and they don't represent nations. And the ICC is just an international gang of crooks. That should be the IGC. But that's another story we've got for you today. Also, President Trump back in court in New York, New York, the city that never sweeps. And Michael Cohen, the crooked, sleazy, slimy, dishonest perjurer, convicted liar, lawyer, who is the lead witness for the prosecution, along with that woman. I don't think it's right to call her a prostitute, but what they like to call her a porn star. That's kind of lowering the standard for star, but we do a lot of that these days. What she does is beep and beep and then occasionally, believe it or not, she beeps and then the Democrats say, "Oh, she's an adult film star. She's a star of adult films." She's the other star witness. She's a star witness in this thing. Pretty amazing stuff. So we've got those are big ones. Iran president and foreign minister killed in a helicopter crash. The weather was bad. Crashed in the side of a mountain. Foggy, probably a little drizzly. Poor visibility. And your pilot is an Iranian, probably jihadi. He's probably a jihadi. He's in good with the bad guys. So that is a big story, no doubt about it. Now, Vladimir Putin praised Ibrahim Raisi after he was killed in this helicopter crash because Ibrahim Raisi and the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, they have been helping Putin and Russia and providing them with weapons and drones so they can kill Ukrainians because they're part of the death cult that goes from North Korea to Russia to China to the Democratic Party in the United States of America and Joe Biden, for that matter. But, it was Ibrahim Raisi who's largely behind the funding of Hamas waging war against Israel, the Houthis waging war against the entrance to the Red Sea and the Suez Canal, and Hezbollah, genocidal gangs of Islamist lunatics who are waging war against civilization. But pay no attention to that. He's got Putin's vote. And amazing. The guy, Raisi, he's got a nickname. You know what his nickname is? He's the Butcher of Tehran. The Butcher of Tehran is his nickname. Am I right? That's his nickname? He's the Butcher of Tehran. Whenever your nickname is the Butcher of this, the Butcher of Lyon, was an old Nazi. And if what you've earned throughout your life is the title, the Butcher of wherever you're from, insert wherever you're from, then you're probably not living your best life. I'm thinking, if you're the butcher of this, the butcher of that. This is the guy, Raisi, who fired the hundreds of missiles, rockets, drones at Israel recently, and of course funding bad guys everywhere from Putin to Hamas to Hezbollah to the Houthis and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and there are more. These are not the good guys. These are the bad guys. Unfortunately for us, we've got this senile suck puppet falling down flights of stairs all over the place as President of the United States and the alleged leader of the free world, which is, I think, problematic. Fortunately, it's an election year. But the Democrats, they're planning on taking out their competition in classic third world style by having crooked prosecutors and crooked judges who donate to, this awful, terrible judge in New York who donated cash money to Joe Biden, and now he's presiding over the trial designed to lynch President Trump. Just amazing stuff. I'm telling you. And when I hear Joe Biden at Morehouse and Joe Biden at the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, not people of color, but colored people, the semantics get difficult with these people. So those are some of the big stories that we've got for you today, and those are big stories. That's a lot of big news. It's really big news. And also Joe Biden giving his commencement speech. There were students that turned their backs on Joe Biden. Now, we think it's because they think that there needs to be death to the Jews. It's mostly because liberals have launched their new Nazi party in the 21st century, and it starts with death to the Jews. But some fun stuff going on there, and students turning their backs on lunch bucket Joe Biden at Morehouse College. Remarkable stuff, I am telling you. And at the NAACP dinner, that was in Detroit, Michigan. He went there. Values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's our core strength, but we're a terrible racist country. Horrible. He's the biggest racist in the country. That's the thing. Everywhere he goes, he takes a rope. That's how bad he is. And he rides a horse. He's really an awful person. So we've got lots of stuff. Genocide Joe has got to go. They were saying at Morehouse because, he's not pro-jihad enough. Remarkable stuff. Also, non-citizens voting becomes a centerpiece of 2024. GOP messaging. The Washington Times has the story. Because the Democrats, we were talking about it last week here, the Democrats in Washington, D.C. and beyond, trying to make sure that illegal aliens can steal your vote, cancel your vote, steal the elections, because the Democrat Party is an extremely corrupt party. They're ethically corrupt, morally, politically, semantically. Yeah, they're semantically corrupt too. So we've got that, and that's a big story. I was talking about that last week. And the mayor of Washington, D.C., my mayor, Muriel Bowser, she's in Las Vegas now at taxpayer expense. I'm one of those taxpayers. And she is there to figure out how to run a good city. I think when she comes back, she might recommend casinos. What do you think? She might recommend casinos and hookers, more hookers, which might be impossible given our limited population size. But we got a lot of them here already. Some of them hold elected office. Some of them just hang out in bars and on street corners. But pretty amazing stuff. We've got that. Speaking of DEI and Joe Biden talking about how diversity and equity are our strengths in the United States, the former DEI chief at Facebook, who is a woman, not only a W, she's a WOC. She's a woman of color. And amazingly, she was just sentenced to 5 years in prison. 5 years in prison for fraud, because she's a fraud and she committed a lot of fraud and she broke a lot of laws. But she was the DEI chief at Facebook because they hire people for all the wrong reasons. And then sometimes it comes back to bite you. I'm surprised she got in any trouble at all. I mean, come on. Mark Zuckerberg should have just paid the man, pay the $2 and move on. What's the matter with you? Also, the Democrat Congresswoman from Texas, who was in the middle of that little Donnybrook that we shared with you last week with AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was a lot of fun. It was crazy. It was demented. But we've got an update on that because Jasmine Crockett, who is the African-American, we had an African-American, a fake Latino woman, and then the Anglo-Caucasian woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC, and Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett immediately started selling swag, T-shirts and sweatshirts, promoting her involvement in this little back and forth that caught on the internet. Only problem is she misspelled. She only had a couple of words on the T-shirt, but she misspelled a very important word on the T-shirt. It's kind of an amazing thing. Democrats are not really good at anything, not good at anything at all. And in fact, great headline. After that dust-up with Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, we must abbreviate everything. And Jasmine Crockett, I'll just call her JC. After that dust-up, great headline, support for 19th Amendment decreases sharply. That is the amendment that the Democrats successfully fought against for 2 decades. And they did. The Democrats kept women from getting the vote. For 2 decades, Republicans were fighting to get women to vote. Democrats fought against it. Hammer and sickle every step of the way. And that's another one they're off the hook for. Update on your Kansas City Chiefs kicker, because we've got more madness from the left. I promise I didn't drink too much this weekend. Yesterday I had 1 beer and 1 beer only. Michael Piercy's raising his hand, though. But I did give out the wrong phone number a couple of minutes ago. It might have to do with the fact that it's, what would you say, about 98 degrees in the studio here with no air. It could be the brain cutting off, my oxygen cut off to the brain. I feel like Joe Biden. I feel a little like, must be what it's like to be Joe Biden. I could fall over. I'm glad there are no steps around, because that could be a problem. But we are, of course, at 888-630-9625. I was looking at numbers on my page, but that's a pretty lame excuse, I've got to say. 888-630-9625 is what happens. Yesterday, my best girl and I, joined by a couple of great friends of ours, Marty and Amy, we went to the Old Soldiers and Airmen's Home property in Washington, D.C., and the Lincoln Cottage, Abraham Lincoln's summer cottage. And there was a bit of a music festival there with bluegrass bands and individuals playing on the front porch of Abraham Lincoln's summer cottage. And we brought lawn chairs and a tarp because the grass might be wet. And we hung out there and had Rockland's ribs, because they had a truck there for Rockland's ribs, and it was great. And bluegrass music and wonderful stuff. And then we went across the street from the entrance to the Old Soldiers Home and the Lincoln Cottage. We went to a great, kind of famous fried chicken place, run out of an old row house there in the neighborhood, called the Hitching Post. And we went there and we had great fried chicken, and it was great. I only had 1 beer, though. I just had 1 beer, Scott Center. It was all I had yesterday. Not like I'm hungover like Piercy is. I'm pretty much clean and sober. We have an awful lot of Joe Biden to get to, because he was out there being a horrible racist all weekend long, pandering to the black vote. So got to be a big racist about it, And naturally, that's what he's doing. It's pretty absurd stuff, I've got to say. Also, a funny moment. Is it okay if I tell your T-shirt story? Jasmine, who is on phones, our wonderful Jasmine. She's on phones today. If you call in, you get to talk to Jasmine. And Jasmine went to a concert over the weekend in Baltimore. It was a metal concert, because Jasmine's a lot of fun, and her friends are fun, and they go out and they have fun all the time. And she's in a metal concert, and she's in Baltimore. And there's a guy at the concert. He's a big old honking white guy. He's a white guy. He's got a big long beard, kind of reddish beard. And he's wearing a black T-shirt with Jihad Joe. It's got kind of a red, white, and blue band like G.I. Joe. Jihad Joe, Real American Zero. And it's a picture of Joe Biden, but he has the Ayatollah's black headdress on and a long beard, and he's dressed in black. And it's an angry, grimacing Joe Biden, Jihad Joe. And at the metal concert in Baltimore, dude is wearing it, and Jasmine saw it and said, "Hey, cool shirt. Can I get a picture of your T-shirt? Because that's a fun shirt." So I had a nice talk with the guy and got the Jihad Joe shirt. And Jasmine asked, because, inquiring minds want to know. So where'd you get that shirt? He said, well, I got it actually from a website that doesn't exist anymore. Because, because the intolerant left, they scrub the internet of all kinds of things. This weekend, I went, because I made reference to it on my Newsmax show on Friday, made reference to the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who was Barack Obama's spiritual guidepost at the Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, Illinois. And you remember him, he's a racist and an anti-Semite and anti-American, perfect for the Obama family. he presided over their wedding, and he baptized their children into the church of what we don't know. But in any event, Jeremiah Wright, famously, when Barack Obama became president, a reporter asked Jeremiah Wright, "So are you going to meet with Barack Obama?" And are you pulling it up right there? Because Michael's real fast with this stuff. I didn't ask him to put it in our thing today, but he just he whipped it out. Because when asked, Jeremiah Wright was asked, "You going to meet with Barack Obama?"
Have you spoken with him since he's been in the White House?
You ain't gonna let him talk to me. I told my baby daughter, I said, he'll talk to me 5 years from now when he's lamed up, or 8 years when he's out of office.
You know, them Jews ain't going to let him talk with me. That's
Jews ain't gonna let him talk to me.
Barack Obama's spiritual guidepost, and the pastor at the Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, where everything's going so well. And if you wonder why, well, it's the Democrats there. That's pretty remarkable stuff. Any case, I mentioned that on my Newsmax show on Friday night. And then after the show, I went looking for the video of that. And boy, I found site after site just like this video no longer available. And I found print versions of it with little empty windows. This video no longer available. And I could only conclude that's because the Democrats are scrubbing the internet constantly of things that they disapprove of, that they don't want to have out there. And they're such fascists. And now they're raising all these Jew-hating armies on college campuses and stuff. But they're such fascists that they go, well, we don't want that on the internet. So they have teams of left-wing, glassy-eyed zombies in a basement somewhere being pathetic and going through the internet and scrubbing the internet of things that the Democrat Party wishes were not on the internet, because they're not liberals. They're the left. It's a very different proposition. So we got that going. Yes, sir. Also, you should know that we're getting close. We're getting close to our own self-immolation line. We're going to have Zippo lighters, because nice listeners sent us a great self-immolation Zippo. And we're getting close to having our own self-immolation lines. Very busy. I'm sorry we haven't sooner, but very busy people around here, because a lot going on. Know what I'm talking about? And the Democrat Party, as you know, I like to point out that the Democrat Party is the history of the Democrat Party is the history of racism in America, because the Democrat Party is the most racist organization in the United States of America, and that has always been the most racist organization in the United States of America. And I like to point out also that they say, oh, you're an election denier. You know, the Democrats, I've been pointing this out for a long time now. The Democrats have denied every presidential election in the 21st century that they've lost, starting with 2000 and the Florida recount and dangling chads and hanging chads and, and all this stuff. And then they contest literally every presidential election in the 21st century that they've lost. They pound the table and they contest. They take it to the Supreme Court. They sue everybody. But if you raise an eyebrow, and they still claim Hillary Clinton said that 2016 was stolen from her when Donald Trump won, right? It was, you can be the best candidate, which she wasn't, and you can have the best whatever, which she didn't, and you can still have it stolen from you because she's Hillary Clinton, and that's what the Democrats say.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
My favorite part is that they all cheer. You know what they're cheering? Having the election stolen from you. They cheer and they applaud and they woo. Get a lot of woos from Democrats. Well, I was pleased to see over the weekend that the great Molly Hemingway, the wonderful reporter Molly Hemingway, who is just the greatest, she really is, she tweeted out a very good thing. And Marco Rubio talked about it over the weekend, too. Molly Hemingway tweeted, the last time Democrats accepted a presidential election they lost was many, many decades ago. Their failure to accept 2016 is the cause of much of our problems in this country. And boy, is that 100% true. That is just completely true, so true. It's incredibly true. And Molly Hemingway is a person that tells the truth because she's a real news reporter. And I will say it's something I've been pointing out for a long, long time now, for years, for sure. Whenever they accuse anybody of being elected, I'm sorry, Stacey Abrams in Georgia still thinks that she, I guess, was the governor now. It's been so long ago, but she still says that. Hillary Clinton, last time anybody asked her, last time it came up, said the 2016 election was stolen. Terry McAuliffe, who was the DNC chair and then governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, still claims that 2000 was stolen and 2004 was stolen. Then they won 2008, 2012, not stolen. Then they lost 2016 to Donald Trump. They say it's stolen. All right, but if you say, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on in the 2020 election that we'd like to look at, then they scream and become hysterical and set themselves on fire and say, you're an election denier. Well, to the extent that anybody's an election denier, perhaps they learned it from the Democrat Party, who deny elections all the time. Marco Rubio also jumped in on this topic over the weekend, and I was happy to see that. Senator Marco Rubio, when will the media start asking Democrats if they will accept the outcome of the 2024 election if Trump wins? And honestly, Rubio, and we have the Rubio stuff, right? It was Meet the Press from yesterday, and Marco Rubio was an invited guest. He was invited to be on Meet the Press, sometimes known Press the Meat, but just when they have only Democrats on. It is, and it was something. Again, we were out at this Bluegrass Festival at the Lincoln Cottage yesterday, and then we went and got fried chicken at the Hitching Post because it's the best fried chicken, little neighborhood place. And so I didn't watch my Sunday morning shows yesterday. But Marco Rubio was on it. My best girl showed me the video after we got home, thanks to Al Gore's amazing internet. Peace be upon him. And Marco Rubio was invited to be on with a woman, as far as we can tell, named Kristen Welker. Kristen Welker. And Marco Rubio is being asked, will you accept the outcome of the 2024 election? Will you accept whatever happens in the future if the Democrats tell you to accept it? Which is what this bootlick fraud of a fake journalist, Kristen Welker, was doing. And Marco Rubio, Senator Marco Rubio, and it led Marco Rubio to tweet out the last time, he tweeted out, when will the media start asking Democrats if they'll accept the outcome of the 2024 election if Trump wins? They still haven't accepted the outcome of the 2016 election. They've been rioting and burning and sacking police stations and courthouses and attacked the White House for days. Oh, George Floyd. Yeah, really, it's because Trump won and Hillary lost. They really wanted Hillary to win. And she's one of the most horrible people ever to walk the face of the planet Earth. So this is what it sounded like Kristen Welker and Marco Rubio yesterday on Face the Meat.
Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter what happens, Senator?
No matter what happens? No, if it's an unfair election, I think it's going to be contested by either side.
Senator, no matter who wins.
I think you're asking the wrong person. The Democrats are the ones that have opposed every Republican victory since 2000. Every single one. It's Hillary Clinton.
No Democrat has refused to concede. Hillary Clinton conceded. Senator, will you accept the election results?
Hillary Clinton said the election was stolen from her and that Trump was illegitimate. Kamala Harris agreed.
Senator.
But she can listen to the Democrat activist, fraud, charlatan, quack, hack, bootlick Democrat shill. Her name is Kristen Welker.
Senator, she conceded the election and attended the inauguration.
She said that Trump was illegitimate. She said that the election had been stolen. Kamala Harris agreed. By the way, there are Democrats serving in Congress today who in 2004 voted not to certify the Ohio electors because they said those machines had been tampered with.
He really had a trouble completing a sentence, much less a thought. And one of the things I like to point out, because it's true, the Democrats like Kristen Welker don't follow the news. She's not very bright. She doesn't know about the 2004 Democrats contesting the Ohio electoral vote because they claim the machines have been corrupted. But if any Republican anywhere on the internet that nobody ever heard of posts something about the machines, then the FBI kicks down their door with rifles drawn. Pretty amazing stuff. Marco Rubio trying to explain or just trying to have a civil conversation with Kristen Welker, who is a charlatan and a fraud.
And you have Democrats now saying they won't certify 2024 because Trump is an insurrectionist and ineligible to hold office. So you need to ask them. I think have you ever asked a Democrat this question on your show? I bet you've never asked a Democrat that question.
And you guaranteed that she's never asked a Democrat that question. Marco Rubio and Kristen Welker. Isn't that amazing? And honestly, Marco, just trying to complete a thought, complete a sentence, and it's this Democrat Party whack that the news media, they play this corrupt role, being bootlicks, and then she gets her invitation to the White House Christmas party and a picture with Joe Biden, and she brings her mom, if her mom will still talk to her. Pretty amazing stuff. Your Democrat Party.
Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election. And they're not making a secret of it.
That's right. There's no secret. Right-wing Republicans are making a plan to steal the 2024 election. And Kristen Welker is not going to ask her about that. She's going to give her a tongue bath after drizzling honey all over. But that's pretty... So the 2024 election is already stolen. You may recall Terry McAuliffe, the DNC chair and former now governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
If Katherine Harris, Jeb Bush, Jim Baker, and the Supreme Court hadn't tampered with the results, Al Gore would be president.
That's right, the 2000 election, and that was him in 2001. Claiming that the election was stolen. Terry McAuliffe, DNC chair and governor, saying that the 2004 election was stolen.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
And I love that, again, they all cheer like crazy mentally ill people, like jihadis who are about to throw themselves off of cliffs, which, might be kind of fun. We'd want to get multi-camera switched shoot in there before they decided to do that. They're so close to being Jonestown. It's just crazy. All right, let's take a phone call, Michael. Our news media is the most corrupt institution in America. Kristen Welker is but one of them. Let's go to Barry calling from Frederick, Maryland. Barry, you're on the Chris Plante Show. Barry walked away. Barry, where's Barry? Wanted to talk about Joe Biden and his speech at Morehouse College, and calling from Frederick, Maryland, and that's a bit of a tough. Hey, Barry, did you grab your phone? Hey, Barry.
Can you hear me, Chris?
Hey, there you are now. It's the telephone.
Sorry. It's the NSA. They're messing with me. Chris, I've got to unburden my soul. I heard Joe Biden's speech at the NAACP, and he gave me the courage to admit that I am, in fact, an erectionist, and I need help. Chris.
Well, I'm not sure which pill you take for that. I know which pill you're supposed to take if you're not an erectionist, and
well, I've been one for so long, I don't know another way to live. I mean, I think I was about 12 when I became an erectionist. I know by 13.
Yeah,
I was
definitely.
A full-blown erectionist at
That's
13.
Right. Yeah.
No pun intended.
Full-blown, yeah, sure.
And it's caused me a lot of trouble. Last night, I was an erectionist with my wife. I stormed her Capitol. I started out at the Capitol domes. I worked my way down to the swamp. And then things got really bad for me because I got greedy and I headed for Boggy Bottom.
Oh no, that could be problematic. That's tough. Well, it is for people that don't know what Barry's talking about. Joe Biden had another. Can I call it a slip of the tongue in this circumstance? Barry, I know that you're not alone in this. I don't want you to feel that you're all alone, because there are a great many American men out there that are suffering from a similar condition. Wait till you hear Joe Biden and his speeches. I'm going to wait till after the top of the hour to get to Joe Biden, Morehouse College, and the NAACP over the weekend. He couldn't be a bigger racist if he set out to be a bigger racist. I know this because about 45 years ago, he set out to be a bigger racist, and he was successful. And he's got this erectionist problem, too. It's not just semantics anymore.
calls and the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill, patriots.
Yeah, Joe Biden provided us with so much stuff. Honestly, our cup runneth over just with Joe Biden's racist drivel from over the weekend. And interestingly enough, there are a lot of people, African-American people, responding and not very favorably to Joe Biden's stuff. And it's not just the students graduating at Morehouse who were told that they have no future. Hey, congratulations, you've been working your entire young life to reach this point, to reach this day. Your graduation, your parents are here, hopefully. Your grandparents are here. Maybe everybody's here to watch you graduate. Because at long last, you're graduating from college after all these years of hard work. And what a privilege. The President of the United States is here because he's a horrible racist and he's pandering for the black vote. And last week, he promised $16 billion to HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. Why? Because they see it as a way, the Democrats, of buying the votes of impressionable young African Americans and stealing votes and stealing elections using taxpayer money, knowing that they don't have to pay the bill. It's not their money. So here's $16 billion. If they really cared, I think they would have made it $100 billion. What's that 16 billion number? What's that? Come on. But we've got Joe Biden at Morehouse College and Joe Biden NAACP in Detroit, Michigan. That's French. And wait till you hear what this guy said. Amazing moment.